What's up, everybody? It's your boy Meme here for breakfast. Well, we actually went to this Mexican place that also served breakfast, like breakfast items, and so I got a chorizo scramble, and that was pretty tasty. It also came with rice and beans because it's a Mexican restaurant, and the beans were cold. Typically when people get their food and they say their food is cold, they're actually saying their food is warm, but it's relatively cold in comparison to other food they've seen in the restaurant. It took me a while to realize that. But, when I say these beans were cold, I mean they were actually cold. They were cold beans. And they, not cold as in they were warm relative to the rest of the food on the table, but like they were, like the temperature was cold. Like you touch them and you're like, oh, this is a cold object. It was crazy. But the chorizo scramble was like hot and the rice was hot, so I wondered how the beans worked. It was really tasty aside from the beans, and so I enjoyed it. Though, I'm not the one paying and I'm not the one tipping, so, maybe I'd have more criticisms if I was the one paying, frankly. And we always joke about how, like, we always go to Denny's, but it's, like, for real. If you go to any other breakfast place, they're all, like, worse than Denny's, which is crazy. Like, you would expect, like, typically the chain restaurant is the one that, like, isn't as good, but you go to Denny's and, like, the food is, like, almost always hot, and the coffee tastes fine. It's like Denny's, like, sort of drip coffee, everything's okay. And sure, it's a little dirty, it's a little dusty, but, like, the food's good, it's just crazy because you would expect non-chain restaurants to have better food than Denny's. And it seems like the only reason why these breakfast places, this place is also a Mexican restaurant, so this comment doesn't really apply to them in particular. But, it really makes you think, like, man, is the only reason why these other breakfast places aren't out of business is, like, out of spite? Like, are people just not going to Denny's because they think they're, like, not worth Denny's? They think they're above Denny's, and so they go to this other breakfast place that serves worse food. It's unusual. But, what can you do? So then when I got home, my sister, we actually went to my sister. Well, okay, so first we went to my sister's apartment to pick up my sister, and then we all drove to breakfast. And then we drove home with my sister because my sister does laundry at our house because to do laundry at her apartment, it costs money. So I talked with my sister probably a total of an hour and a half today, which went pretty well. I used these headphones quite a bit that I haven't paid for. I didn't pay for. And they were pretty nice while I was working on this wonderful project. One moment. My parents are talking in the background. Just one sec. Okay, my parents are done talking. There's still going to be background noise from their show, but frankly, I'd much rather have background noise from their show than from them talking, because that's them talking, and they don't know I'm recording my video. But yeah, here's this awesome script I worked on. A couple days... The functionality isn't done, and I'm not going to be going over the entire thing. I want to show it off because 2 days ago I showed off a version of the script and it wasn't very good and it was completely unfinished. And it's one of those. It's like, I don't think it was an accurate representation of, like, the vision I had for the script. But, basically, it creates these paths and it uses, make dir on pathlib, which is, like, the correct way to do it. Then there's invite, which is really cool. This uses, like, a little, file, called isinvite.txt, and basically all it does is it has 1 or 0, and if it's 1, that means to advertise one message in the chat, and if it's 0, is to advertise another message in the chat. And that's just really, really cool of the Minecraft server. And so in the past, it used to be like it would depend on the script running every 30 minutes. So it would be like, hey, if it's at 30, like if the minute is 30, run this, and if the minute is 0, run this. And so it depended. So then if you well, it was like if the minute is 0, run this, and if the minute is anything else, do this other thing. So if you were to have the frequency of running the script be anything more than every 30 minutes, it would run one of these way more than the other one. And that was fine because I was planning on running it every 30 minutes, but you know, I think it's a lot cooler to just have it work more broadly, like to just be able to have it run at any frequency. So with isInvite, it just alternates between these two messages no matter what, which is really sick. Yeah, so then there's yeah, it's pretty much isInvite. isInvite is like, this is really difficult to do because I don't really do stuff with files that often. I haven't really done stuff with files, but it's really, really, really cool, and I'm very happy with it. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was just really cool. I'm really happy with it, and it also has this cool thing where it talks about there's a 4% chance that like a non-advertisement message might show up in the chat, and I just think that's a cool sort of little Easter egg type thing, and I'm just really happy with it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing else is really going on. Yeah.